Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Now, in today's video, we have a little of a speculation and a yap video because I've been thinking, what's next for the Hammond Collection, right? We've gotten the T-Rex, we've gotten the Indom, we're going to get the Indom, we've got the Giga, we've got the Spinal. What's next? You know, what could they do next? So that's kind of the point of today's video. I'm going to be yapping and kind of ranting about who I think's next, kind of theorizing. So let's go ahead and begin. First off, right? We know the Indom and the Scorpius and all those other guys are coming out in summer, but they're probably gonna do another drop around Christmas time, right? So who's gonna be in it? I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Indoraptor. Because let's be real, it is a very, very heavily demanded creature, you know, very fan requested creature for them to make. And it really only makes sense, right? Because they just did, well, they're doing the Indom and the Scorpius this summer. So to keep up kind of the hybrid hype, they'd want to drop the Indoraptor during, you know, winter, maybe even in October for a little bit of, you know, kind of spooky vibe, because Fallen Kingdom was kind of spooky, Indoraptor kind of spooky. It kind of plays together. If they were to do any other creatures, I don't really know. Maybe a Quetzal, but I doubt it. We'll get to that later. I think they're just gonna do some like random creatures, maybe some creatures from the book. You know, actually, they could do compies. Like a little, like you get like a $10 or maybe $20 pack. You get like 5 tiny little compies. That would be kind of cool. The posability would be really, really weird. You'd be able to only like pose their head and like their tail. I don't know. I guess they would definitely have to be a little bit larger, but that's a topic for a different day. So that's why I think it's going to happen over winter. What about the next summer drop? Low key, I think we might finally be getting the D-Rex, right? Because we're just now getting rebirth stuff. We've gotten the Mutadon, we're getting the Mutadon, the Aquilops, you know, so I think they're going to continue the rebirth. I think we are going to get the D-Rex. And if not the D-Rex, then the rebirth Spinosaurus. One of those two we are getting next summer. I'm 90% sure. And also, this is just speculation. Like I said earlier, nothing's confirmed. I don't even think there's leaks for this stuff. This is just pure theorizing. Well, there has been leaks for the Indoraptor, but other than that, there hasn't really been leaks as far as I know. But yeah, I think the D-Rex would be a perfect fit for the summer, right? You get the D-Rex, and then it would be really nice alongside the D-Rex if they drop let's just pretend that next summer they're gonna do the D-Rex. They have the D-Rex, and then alongside it they drop forgot the name. The Velociraptors, even though they are barely on screen, it would be really cool to get both the Velociraptors as a Hammond Collection figure. So that would come along with the D-Rex. I don't know. They probably wouldn't do a big drop like they're doing now, because you gotta realize the D-Rex would be a very complicated creature to design. Because but most of the theropods, you just looking at, you know, it's a normal theropod build. But this is something truly unique. So if the D-Rex doesn't come out during the summer, I think it might come out during the winter. So maybe, just maybe, they're going to do the rebirth Spino over the summer. Because there's not really any large carnivores left, and there's not really much large herbivores. So that's kind of the year laid out. But what other creatures are we missing? Let's start off with the air. We have barely any air creatures in the Hammond Collection. I think we have one, and it isn't even technically in the movie. The Geosternbergia. Technically it's not in a movie. Like, it was concept art planned for a movie, but it's weird. They pretty much just turn it into a Pteranodon. Speaking of that, we haven't gotten a Hammond Collection Pteranodon for some reason. So they're probably going to drop that hopefully sometime soon. We also haven't really gotten a Dimorphodon. That's going to be a while, I feel, till we get that, because no one really wants a Dimorphodon, right? It's kind of not a forgettable creature, but like, you know, no one's asking for it. No one really cares. They would probably do a Quetzal though. And they have two options, right? They have the Rebirth Quetzal, which is low-key, I'm gonna be honest, that's probably what they're gonna do first, because Rebirth just came out. They're gonna want to kind of capitalize on that. Like, if they drop the D-Rex, they're gonna want to drop the Rebirth Quetzal alongside it. But then they also should probably do the Dominion Quetzal, because honestly, that's a better design. But they would probably both be pretty good. So obviously they have those for flying guys, and that's about it. But let's move on to water guys. It's only the Mosasaurs. Of course, the Jurassic World Mosasaur and then the Rebirth Mosasaur. Now, same thing with the Quetzals. We're probably going to get Rebirth first, but I'd honestly, low-key, much rather have the Jurassic World one. Now, hear me out, right? It'd be really, really cool to see them drop it during the winter, because the Indom's coming out. So it'd be really nice. You get the Indom, about 6 months later, you get the Jurassic World Mosasaurus. That would be awesome. That would be an amazing marketing strategy if I were them. But I'm not. So we're going to move on. Obviously, we have the two Mosasaurs. We're going to move on to pretty much the rest of the land creatures that they still haven't done, and kind of my thoughts and ideas on them. So if you know, they are dropping the life-size quote unquote. Aquilops. Now, what other creatures could they do in this scale? They could do a compy. That would look cursed. I'm gonna be honest. Imagine having a giant life-size compy on your shelf next to the spine. You know what I'm saying? Or the brachiosaurus. That would look goofy. But you know, if they're gonna continue life size, that's probably what they're gonna do. And then also life size baby bumpy. That would do well. And also, I guess life size baby brachiosaurus wouldn't really make sense. I was thinking the brachiosaur from camp, that wouldn't work. Maybe life size baby T-Rex, but that would be like $200. That would be ridiculous. I don't think anyone would buy it. So not much more life size they can do unless the Aquilops was a one-off. But for the rest of the creatures, we haven't gotten an Apatosaurus. We're probably gonna get that eventually. I wouldn't be surprised if we got it. Titanosaurus, we're probably going to get that soon. And by soon, I mean in a year or two-ish. Because, you know, they're going to capitalize on rebirth. So they're going to do one soon. It's basically just you take the Brachiosaurus mold, update it, and then add all the player and stuff. So we're probably going to get a Titanosaurus. That's it for the sauropods, I think. Unless they want to do, like, the Ankylodoculus or whatever it's called. That would actually be kind of cool. Like getting a Spinoraptor or a Stegoceratops. That would be kind of cool. I would not mind them doing that instead of the novel species or whatever. But most of the big carnivores they have already done. I think like the only one left. No, I don't even think there is any left. I think they have hit all the large carnivores. Now that I think about it. Spinax is about the only one I can think of from Camp Cretaceous or Suchomimus. Not Camp Cretaceous, Chaos Theory. Those are about the only two carnivores that are kind of left other than like variants, you know, and also you have the raptor variants, they could do that, and then of course the Atrociraptor variants. So that's what, of course, they can do that. But really what they need to hit is a couple herbivores, right? We haven't gotten, okay, I'm gonna be honest, the Iguanodon sucks from the minion. I do not like its design, so you know they don't gotta make that. Also, I forgot with the sauropod section, Mamenchisaurus and Dreadnoughtus. Mamenchisaurus would be cool. I don't really care for Dreadnoughtus. Those would probably be one of the last creatures they're gonna do, I'm gonna be honest. But back to herbivores. We haven't gotten into Pseudoceratops, so that would be really cool to see, right? A bumpy Ankylosaurus would also be really nice to see. I would definitely buy that, have it fight the Endom. But yeah, the Pseudoceratops, bumpy Ankylosaurus, the Kentrosaurus from Chaos Theory. Pretty much most things from Chaos Theory we haven't gotten. And I don't know if we're going to get them. I really don't know if we're going to get them. Because so far, well, we're getting Scorpius, and that's from Chaos Theory / Camp Cretaceous. So we probably are going to get the other ones. Just it's going to take a while. Those are going to be definitely later on down the line. But we could get a few sprinkled in here and there, right? So what are my final thoughts and predictions for this year and next year? Definitely the Indoraptor and definitely the D-Rex or the Spinosaurus from Rebirth. We're getting those, mark my word. But if you want to come back in a year and see if my predictions are correct, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Helps out the channel a ton. But in case you don't do that, in case I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.